Look at what we have here. This watch here is super rare and super interesting. You could bring this to any watch fair type thing, and if you explain to people what it is, it would generate more interest than watches 10, 20, 30 times the price. What we have here is one of the first Omega quartz watches. The movement on the inside is a beta or beta 21. So in the 1960s, a load of Swiss companies got together to produce a new quartz movement, and then they put that movement in various different watches. So Omega was working with Rolex and various other Swiss brands, so you see the same movement here in the Rolex version of this watch, which is solid gold. The reason the watches were big is because the movement's big, and because it was so expensive, they often put the movement in solid gold watches, because they had to warrant the price of the movement. Now, what's happened is, as they lost popularity, a lot of those watches have been melted down for scrap because they were solid gold, so it's only made them rarer as time goes on. This here is a super rare watch. I paid £800 for it on eBay and it's not working. We're going to try and fix it in this video, but only up to a certain level. I'm not going to strip this down into 100 parts because you're going to need specialist knowledge, and I can't risk breaking something that's this rare and this expensive. I love it though, and I've been after a beta or beta 21 watch for quite a long time. I wasn't really too bothered what watch it came in. It just so happens that the Omega ones are some of the cheapest ones out there. So yeah, £800 sounds a lot of money, but actually it's not too bad considering what I have, and I think something like this will only go up in value over time. They were actually beaten to the market by Seiko, the Japanese. They got there in production with the quartz first, and then shortly after that all the companies started making their own quartz watches after that. So these beta 21 movements weren't actually in production for very long, which makes them even rarer. So we're going to zoom in. I just want to show you something interesting that happens when I push this in, and also I want to show you how to change the date as well. The watch is it's just really interesting, and if I can get it humming, because this is the tuning fork watch. It's powered by a battery and it's got quartz, but it's actually got a tuning fork as well. It's got it all going on, and the second hand sweeps round, and if you look at the frequency here, it says 8,192 hertz. So the quartz watches of nowadays are 32,000 hertz, aren't they? While this is 8,000 hertz. So yeah, just different again. You know, this is why this is interesting, because this is where it started. This is where quartz started here. So yeah, it's definitely a part of horological history. Let's zoom in more. Right, so here it is. You can see it's in super nice condition. We have a bit of a scratch on the glass here. It's hard to change the time in it. I don't think that's because it's faulty. I think it's just because of the design of the small crown. But the idea is that you don't really have to change the time because it's a quartz, so it's going to be very reliable. I think it was 5 seconds a month. So realistically, people probably just changed it when they got the battery, but you would have to change the date. The date's an interesting one. What you have to do is you have to push in, and then I think it's up this way. So I'm going to push in and I'm going to turn. Hold on. It's a bit hard to do. There, did you hear it click once? And then the second click will turn it. There you go. Oops. There. So it's kind of nice because you've got AM and PM, haven't you, when you turn this here, depending on what time you change it. So one click, and then the second click will change it. Let's take it off 13. That might be a bad omen for me if I really don't want to break this watch. Oh, I can see a hair. I can see a bit of a hair down there. Can you see that? Just on the inside by the 14. Right, well, maybe the dial might need to be taken out. So on the back of it, we have 4 screws. Also, that back's been put on the wrong way round. It's upside down, isn't it? Right, so yeah, let's remove them and see what lies inside. Now, obviously, I'm not a watch repair person. Don't copy what you see in this video. You're going to see plenty of mistakes. You're not going to see the correct tools being used. But what I'm hoping is that if it's an electronic problem, maybe my audience would have more chance of fixing it than an actual watch person who's used to working with mechanical and automatic watches. Right, so look at it. Oh my. Oh, look at that. Now it should say 1300 somewhere. That There it is, Omega 1300, just here. Wow. So there it is. That is the Beta 21 movement. So, battery powered. We have a controller here to, I presume, send pulses to the quartz. That looks like, would that be some sort of tuning capacitor? And there it is. That's the tuning fork there. I'm going to have to get the microscope out on this because basically I can see it. I can see two fingers. Down here, on this bit here, there is two fingers coming down. Let me zoom out. This is amazing. So there's two fingers coming down and there's a wheel that's going to have hundreds, if not thousands of teeth on. And basically one pushes and the other one stops the wheel from going back. So imagine like a ratchet and it pushes it round and it click, click. And this one here stops it from going back the other way. So push, 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 push. And that's how the tuning fork works. It vibrates at, I don't know whether this would be vibrating. When it says 8,000, I don't know if that's the tuning fork or the actual quartz that's vibrating at that amount. Maybe it's both. Maybe the quartz is causing the vibrations of 8,000 a second, isn't it? And so the tuning fork is going to be moving at 8,000 times, moving basically that wheel around like that. And when you move the wheel around, it moves the second hand. In fact, I didn't show you. Look, watch this. Be careful now. If I put it out and put it back in, watch the second hand. See it moved round? Yeah, so there's a bit of life in it. Okay, now let's zoom in and show you that happening on the actual fingers. But I think I'm going to have to get the microscope. So watch up here because this is going to be the wheel here. Ready? In fact, hold on. By doing that out there, you're moving the fingers away. And that's why it stops it from working, so you can set perfect time. There you go, you can see the fingers now going down. Look at that, just here. These two lines. There. If you touch them, it's game over. So, watch this. Now, why is it working for a second and then stopping? So first thing to do, let's measure the battery. This is the positive of the battery, and this here is going to be the negative. Okay, so that's a strong battery. It's over 1.5 volts. Yeah, and also a watch this expensive, something like the battery would have been checked out. Is it making a good contact? Well, I'll tell you what, let's force it down and let's see if that starts moving around. No. Now let's just zoom in and see what we got here. There's some service marks there. Well, there's two lines there, but I can't make out what they say. That's weird. Why is it scratched in there? It's got an Omega sign scratched in. 28821. What's that about? Why would a watchmaker do that when it says Omega here? Why would they feel the need to scratch that there? Not too sure. Right, here we have it. 13 joules unadjusted. Oh, look at that, B21. Or is that 821? No, maybe that's B21 for beta or beta 21. I don't know what they say in the UK, whether it's beta or beta. Not too sure. Beta sounds better to me. Right, so you can see now that looks like we've got a little bit of do you know what, that's just chewed up there from where somebody's taken out the crown. So you can see those little fingers just there. So if I put it in and out, you'll see now how it works. In fact, should we zoom right the way in for this? Right, you ready? Can you see how that works? Two fingers pushing, one's pushing, one's stopping. Right, so now, if I try to just not let it go in very much, would that make it work? Let me just try to do it really slowly. No. Let's have a look around the place, see if we can see any dodgy solder joints. Hold on, what's that screw for there? Right, so when you screw that in or out, it moves this, it pivots around here. So it pivots on here. So this is actually moving because the wheel that's turning, that the fingers push round, is on this bit here. So by moving this in and out, you can adjust it, can't you, to how much the wheel hits the fingers. That's quite interesting. Right, I don't really want to mess with that because unless somebody else has messed with it, it would have been unlikely to go out for alignment. I mean, the watch seems in very good condition. Now, is that a dodgy solder joint there? No, I don't think so. Up here as well. All looks okay, doesn't it? No corrosion anywhere. Everything looks all right, doesn't it? Right, I think what we should do is, I think we should add a little bit of heat from my heat gun, and that will mimic the wearing of it, because it did say that when it's worn, it can start to tick. So now, is that to do with gummed up oil? You know, in these little jewels here, maybe the oil has gone gummed up over the years and it needs heat from the hand to make the oil, you know, run thinner maybe? Or does it suggest one of the components has gone faulty? So I'm going to get my hot air station to the minimum temperature. Right, that's 100 degrees. And I'm just going to go and heat up different things and see if we can get any life. So let's start by heating up this little capacitor thing down here. Now obviously I'm not holding it on here for very long. Just want to do it until it feels a little bit warm. It's working. It's working. Look at that. Right. It's working now. Is there dodgy joints on that one there? Look at that. Oh my god. Let's see the second hand move. Oh, how nice is that? Is that going a bit quick? Hold on. 1 and 2 and 3. That's way too fast, isn't it? 1 second now. Oh, now it's slowed down. And now, oh, wow. Oh, no, it stopped. That was weird. That was going really quick. Is that because of the tuning capacitor? Has that failed then? But it's stopped again. Right, let's heat up. Tell you what, let's just do it with my finger. See if the heat comes back. Just from my finger. No. It's definitely heat related though, isn't it? I presume the battery's been swapped over, so it'd be unlikely to be anything to do with that. What about the microchip up here? Oh, look at that. Look at that, just from my finger. Is it going at a sensible rate now? Hold on. Right, let's keep my finger on that. It's way too fast, isn't it? Way, way, way too fast. Weird. Okay. See how long that's going to last for. And then it stops. What's going on? Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm just tapping that. And it goes, right. Is it heat related, or can I put pressure down on here? Wow, that's sensitive. So if I just tap it with my finger, it starts working. No, it doesn't. I'm very lightly on it now. It's not doing it. So hold on. I had my finger against here before. Is it a bad solder joint just here? Hold on 1 second, let me tap this. No, it's definitely something to do with this microchip. But yet, right, let me try tapping it without hitting the side. Oh no, I think it's going to be one of the bond wires on the inside. I don't think it's the solder joint. Do you see what I mean? None of them look cold. Right, what I'm going to do is I am going to get my soldering iron on, and I'm just going to tap each of them. But I think when the chip cools down, I don't think it's going to work still. I think in here, you see, there's going to be, this is just like a little black case to protect what's on the inside, and there's going to be little bond wires going from there to, you know, the chip on the inside. And I think one of the bond wires has gone. Right, I'm not going to use flux or anything. I just want to see if I can remelt the wires here. Should I add a bit of solder to it or not? This solder probably hasn't been touched in 50 years. Do you know what? I need to take the battery out, don't I? Just in case I short something. Yeah, it's never had any leaks in there, has it? Well, I may add some solder, I'm not sure yet. Let's just pop the battery back in and see whether it comes to life. Oh, it's working, but remember I've put heat into there. At what speed is it working though? Right, I'm just going to set my stopwatch. Don't quite understand why it's running so fast. Now it's stopped. So it's heating that chip. Anyway, I'm going to keep my finger on it. I just want to see what speed it is running at. I'll wait until it gets to 30. Look at that. It's really going for it. So it's going about twice the speed. Alright, well, I think we've proved that it's that microchip. But how do I keep that warm? I mean, what about if we were to put a little bit of a thermal pad on it and then transfer the heat to here? At least then when you wear it, I suppose it would, the thermal pad would bring the heat from the back straight into the chip, wouldn't it? I know normally you have them to keep them cool, but it would be then, would it not be soaking the heat from the back into the chip? Oh, that's a real strange one, isn't it? But anyway, it looks like we've proved the fault onto the microchip. That's bad news. But also, why is it running so fast? So, off camera, well, it wasn't off camera. I thought I was recording on the microscope, but I wasn't. So I've got the audio, but I haven't got any visual. So I'm going to explain what I did. First of all, I unscrewed just a tiny little bit this screw that the arrow's pointing to on screen now. Then the lower down screw that the arrow's pointing to now, I started turning from memory. I brought it more into the fingers to try to slow it down. So I turned it counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, in order to make the wheel go nearer to the fingers. And it did seem to do the trick. So if you have, and then obviously I've done the top screw again to tighten it all up. And if you have a look at this bit now, you can see that it's not running as fast as it was before. Right, here goes. Let's see what the time's like now. Certainly looks better. Obviously there must be a special machine to do this. But maybe by trial and error you might be able to get it. You might be able to get it perfect. This is irrelevant anyway because the watch is not working. I wouldn't say it's a million miles off. Thing is, for me, it's just interesting to see how it works. And now I know that that's how you regulate them. I'm not saying I've done it correctly. But you can see before it was twice the speed, and now it looks like we might be nearly there. Right, what am I going to do about this chip then? The only thing I can think is to add heat to try to rebond the wire on the inside. But normally when that happens, everybody says it only lasts a short amount of time before it fails again. Look at that. I'm just going to let it go around 1 more minute. I'll fast forward through it. Okay, so this is a tiny bit fast, isn't it? But it's not too far off. We'll leave it at that for the moment. I'm confident that I'll be able to get the time sorted because I think I just need to tweak that a little bit more. And if I start timing it over 5 and 10 minutes, you know, we might actually get there. I can't put this only on the standard sort of timer graph that you get because it doesn't tick like a normal watch. But what I can't fix is this chip. The good news is that you probably will be able to get hold of a new module here if I look for long enough. So I think long term I will be able to get this. I will be able to get it working. So I think the only thing left to do really is to try to heat up the chip in the chance that the bond wire might reattach itself. That's what I'm thinking. But I've got a feeling it is just going to fade again. I can't see what else I can do. If I could see a hairline crack, maybe then I could grind away, you know, one of the corners and then try to solder up the inside. But, or maybe not solder, maybe put conductive paint. But I can't see any break. It's just like maybe it's dropped and then it's fractured on the inside, or maybe heat cycles or something. You know, these are old now. Maybe it's just unattached itself. Definitely have to take the dial out because I've seen the second hand just hit that fibre there. So before I do anything terminal with the microchip, I just want to resolder the connections onto the tuning capacitor. I'm sure they're fine, it's just that it's an easy thing to do. I say easy, it was actually quite hard because the solder wasn't really wanting to stick to it. I'm not sure how much of this is solder and how much of this is like silver paint or whether it's some weird mix between the two. But anyway, eventually I did solder it, but unfortunately it made no difference. I did actually have to take out the little side bit to do this. And while I did that, I also had a look at the chip on the other side to see if I could see any cracks. It all looks 100% perfect. Even through the microscope, there's no cracks or anything on it. So then after that, I discover this happens when I use the soldering iron on the microchip, and I think it's really interesting. If you have a look up here, you can see that the top part is discoloured, and I've been just resting my soldering iron on it, and look, this is where the power goes in. So I think what's happened is, look at this whole section here, you can see it's like burnt. So where the power comes in, the chip's gone. Now this is really interesting. Right now I've been resting my soldering iron on it, and now because I've been resting my soldering iron on it, even when I put my finger on it, it doesn't seem to generate the heat like it did before. But watch this. All I have to do is tap the soldering iron and it was working. So watch this now. I just tap it here. Can you see? It's so interesting. So look, if I tap here, doesn't change anything. Tap here, doesn't change anything. But here it does. Here it does. Here it does, and here it does. So there's something over, oh yeah, there. But look, if I tap here, it doesn't do it, or here. Yeah, so that one goes off to the coil, and this one goes down to here. So it's definitely something over this side of the chip. But what's interesting is I don't think it is a bond wire going to the legs, because you would think it would only be on one of them. So it doesn't matter if I tap here, and I am just tapping here. Oh, hold on. Here, here, or here it works. Or in the middle. Watch. Isn't that weird? But yet here, doesn't work. Look, nothing. Look. Obviously if I hold it on, it's going to start working because it's heating up the whole chip. But look at that, nothing. But then work my way over. Here, starts working. Isn't that strange? So it's something over this side of the chip. This bit here. And if I hold it on for too long, what happens is it starts working and stops because it gets too hot. Watch. There. Now let go. And then when it cools down, it will start working again. But then it will stop when it gets too cool. Isn't that fascinating? There you go, yeah? So tap and it will work. Hold down, it will keep working until it gets too warm. And it stop. Take it off, and when it cools it will kick in again, but only for so long. So it's got a window of temperature that it works in. Here we go. Right, this is really interesting. I think I found out the faulty part of the chip. So I've got my soldering iron turned off right now, but it's still heating it. So let me just show you this. Watch this. So we know nothing happens here and here, yeah? But now watch, if I tap it here, can you see it works? But now look, if I tap it here, it doesn't work. My iron's a lot cooler because it's turned off. Tap it here, it doesn't work. Tap it here, it doesn't work. Tap it here, it works. So watch. How long does it take? 1 and 2, 2 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3, nothing. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2. Yeah, obviously it's going to cool down soon. Yeah, the chip's burnt where you can see it's burnt here, so it's this corner. This corner's gone. Okay. Oh, I've got two decisions. I could try to grind away here, the corner, just to see if it exposes anything. Or I could try to heat the chip up, and in doing so I'm probably going to break it. I think I should try to grind away the corner. If I heat up the chip and it breaks, I wish then I had the chance to grind away the corner. If I grind away the corner and it doesn't work, then I would have wished that I would have heated up the complete chip. I just think that because we have damage in this corner here, and now I've pinpointed it onto this leg, I'm pretty sure, and I can see staining on this corner, I think I'm going to go with the grinding. So I've never used this one before. I've seen this on a channel called Buy It, Fix It, and his videos are really interesting and he really knows his stuff. And I asked him what was that pen he used because he had to grind something away, and then he sent me a link to it and I bought it. I can't remember how much it cost, roughly around £20, but it's nice because the thing is, it's tiny. It's got a tiny little one at the end here, and it also comes with other spare ends as well. You get a little thing, there's loads of different ends that you get. So where it would be useful is for something that's more fine than a Dremel tool. So look, there's even a little cutting disc there, which is nice. And it just charges up by USB-C. And I charged this up, probably got this now about a month ago or so, and it's holding on to its charge, which is good. But anyway, yeah, check out Buy It, Fix It, because I really do think if you enjoy my videos, I think you will enjoy his videos as well. There's a lot of Milwaukee stuff, so yeah, it's good. Check it out! So obviously now, if I'm grinding this away, it's going to create dust. I don't want the dust to go into the watch, so I'm going to have to take this out and then do it on the mat. Okay, here we go. I've got this zoomed in massively. This is the corner here that we're going to be dealing with, you know, the corner where it doesn't actually go anywhere. So now let's see what's going to happen. I like this tool, it's got quite a lot of control to it. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some IPA on the go, because I want to see what's going on bit by bit. Well, I don't think I'm through to anything yet. Now, I know this is going to look really easy on camera. You need to remember that, look at the size of my finger. It's... my fingernail would be probably, you could probably fit 6 of those chips on my fingernail. So it's super small. I'm just going to blow this rubbish away. I've got my watch on a different table, so none of this stuff's going to go into my watch. Right, while I'm doing this nice therapeutic grinding back, I'm loving this. It's soothing for the soul. I'll give a shout out to them, my mate Vince Massive. The members this month are kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, Will Michaelis, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Ellis Garbutt, Pigsy, Kenneth Blenstrop Sorensen, Gabe McCandless, Extreme 401, Robert from Timsy's Autowear, Daniel Watson, and Zeke's C. As always, thank you very much. Right, okay, we're getting to the leg. But you see, I think heating it up, I don't think this leg's going to be, because the leg doesn't go anywhere, does it? Let me just double check that. Let's just go on the other side. No, the leg's not going anywhere, is it? It's not doing anything. Right, we're certainly getting into it now. Looks to be a bit chalky here. Don't think it's going any higher than that, so maybe that's where the bond wires are. Or maybe all the stuff is the other side of this chip. Now, does the top of this one not look quite right? This power one. Looks to be a bit bent, doesn't it? Do you know what I'm thinking in my head? I'm thinking that there's bond wires on the other side of these. So if I was to push down on here, maybe it might remake the connection. Because I've actually gone into, I've gone into this now. And I can't even see what this one's doing because it's not connected anywhere. But yet, for some reason, when we put heat on, it livens up instantly. Do you know what? I think I am going to try that before I do anything else. Okay, here we go. I'm really nervous. In my mind, I think it might actually work. So, in, up. I'm purposely not looking at the little wheel. Here goes. Oh, it's not working. No, it's still the same. I was sure that was going to work. Right, okay. Now that we have, let's zoom in. Now that we have the legs exposed, I'm going to add heat from the soldering iron to see whether or not it might melt whatever it is on the inside back on. Obviously, I'm not shorting there. I know I've got the battery in. Now, will it start when it cools down? What do I do now then? Don't know. Or do I release the video and then wait for a revisit video when I read the comments, because some of you guys are going to have some good ideas on what it could be. Because I don't really understand the inside of chips. I know there's going to be circuitry and then there's going to be bond wires going to the legs. But that's really as far as my knowledge goes. It's definitely heat related, and I don't think it's to do with putting pressure down on these things here. Because if I was just to use a screwdriver, it's not coming to life, I don't think. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. What about this one? No. That one came to life with pressure. Look, that can't be heat, can it? Let's use this. This has to be cold. My tweezers. Yeah, look. I need it down there, so it's not heat when it comes to pressure there. I suppose the problem is I need to lift this leg out, but then I'm going to break the bond wire. How do I get this down more? See, I've got a huge amount of pressure on there, you see. That's not just resting, I'm actually forcing it down. Okay, let's try the soldering iron again. It's a shame I can't kind of melt it down. Just trying to use a bit of force. Oh no. Oh, I just broke through it. Oh no. Oh, disaster. Oh, when I was getting so close, I just completely snapped through it. Game over. Too much force. Oh, so upset because I felt like I was getting so close. Right, I've got nothing to lose now. I might as well grind away all of those legs there, just to see what's well. Saying that, I'm going to be able to see the bond wires now, aren't I? I might as well melt. I might as well unsolder these legs, and then we can fully see the bond wires. Well, we're not going to fully. They're going to be tiny, but oh, what a shame! Real shame. Got so close as well. I'm going to take the battery out. There we go. Right, let's get this back under the microscope and see what it looks like. Okay, so look, I think what's happened is through repeated heat cycles, maybe from, I don't know, something with the battery putting too much voltage out or something, I think it burnt this area here. So it looks to me as if there's a tiny bond wire just there, just here, and just here. So yeah, it's this one. I can't see this one here, but I presume the power one, this must be the one that was actually faulty then. I mean, really, what difference does this one make? Unless it's not a bond wire thing. Because why would putting heat here have affected this one unless it was more than this one, you know? This one was really sensitive. This one, not so much. So I don't know. But I think there's going to be a tiny bond wire just here. Shame they're not just a tiny little bit bigger. Then I'd have a chance of getting something onto it. I wonder if I was to flood this area, with silver paint, I wonder then could I kind of make up the legs with silver paint rather than the pins, do you know what I mean? So then there's silver paint coming out of it, and I might be able to put the legs then onto the silver paint. That's an idea, isn't it? Let me experiment with that. So that's exactly what I do. I get the silver paint, the conductive paint, and I splodge it about everywhere, and hopefully they'll make contact with the bond wires. This will now give me a big surface area to allow the legs of the chip to make contact with the conductive paint, because the odds of them tapping onto those tiny bond wires are going to be very slim. There's no way I can solder onto the bond wires. They're absolutely tiny. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, what's the point of having the leg that doesn't do anything? Yes, when we put pressure on it or heat on it, it starts to work, but it's not doing anything on the actual board. So this chip must be an off-the-shelf part, and maybe in another circumstance it is in use, but not in this one here. So I'm just going to connect up both of them, and I'm putting plenty of silver paint all the way around it. As the paint starts to dry, I scrape away because we can't have them shorting next to each other. This stuff kind of goes chalky as it dries, so it's easier to scrape away. And then I put on some nail varnish all over it to try and give it strength. But that turned out to be a massive mistake because I must have put it on too thickly and it never dried. And then basically it all collapsed on me when I tried to put it back together. So what you see now is the two legs actually soldered onto the board itself, and I scraped off most of the nail varnish. I'm now going to just try to put it in situ. And you can see the silver paint there still wet because I put new silver paint on, and I'm just going to solder up one side of the chip here, and then I'm just hoping if I flood that whole area with silver paint that the legs will make contact with the bond wires. It looks awful, but at this stage it's just getting harder and harder to do anything with it, because unfortunately the nail varnish really messed up my my idea. But anyway, this bit here, it was so painful to do. You think it'd be easy, but I think what happens, my soldering iron seemed to become magnetised to it, and the little needle thing I was using seemed to be magnetised, and I struggled so much to get this leg on. It was a real pain, but eventually I did get there. And then it's just a case of putting loads of silver paint. I don't care that it's going everywhere because I'm going to scrape it clean afterwards. So I'm just putting it in there now because my silver paint is on the turn. It's pretty old. I'm just going to add some heat to it to try to make it flow a little bit better. I'm hoping I only need some of it to touch the bond wire. And then if it does, the rest of it is going to make some sort of contact with the leg. And then I'm thinking it should be okay because there's not going to be a huge amount of current or anything in this. I just need continuity between it. And now all I'm doing here is, as it dries, I'm just scraping in between the legs to make sure they're not shorting each other. So now that I'm pretty confident that these two legs are not going to be shorting against each other, let's get the multimeter out and let's test it. Right, okay, so I've got my meter on continuity. Now a minute ago it did actually short, but now it's not shorting. So if I go between this one here and this one, so you can hear, you might not be able to hear, this meter is very quiet. Basically it's not shorting now. Now I don't know whether that's gone off yet, but it still feels soft, and this stuff is only works when it's dry. But let me just zoom out. I'll still leave it on the microscope. Let's see now if it's going to do anything. Imagine if it did. It might still work when it's dry, even if it doesn't work now. Oh my god! 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 Look at that! It's never done that. It has never done that. Amazing! Oh my, look at that. So it was bond wire on the main middle, the battery in. Because look, this isn't even connected now. It was the bond wire on the battery in, and you could see where the burnt chip was. I fixed a microchip. Oh wow! Right, I'm gonna have to let this fully dry. I still need to regulate the watch properly, and then I should be cleaning up all the solder. It looks horrible, but the thing is, I don't want to. I don't want to. I think when I put a blob of glue or nail varnish on that, I might even try to get some. Well, I haven't got black nail varnish. I'll see what my wife's got. Oh my god! Oh, that's just unbelievable. Look at that. Don't want to wobble it around too much, but look at the second hand. Oh wow. Now it has got dirt inside here that I need to clean, but I don't think I'm going to mess with that until this is all fully gone off. Unbelievable. See, this has got no mechanical strength. It's just balanced on there. Really, I probably need to put something underneath the chip. Maybe I should take this out and put hot glue under the chip. That's a good idea, isn't it? Hot glue under the chip to give it mechanical support underneath. Now, it's not going to look pretty. I'm just heating it up here. Do you know what? That's a little bit too high. I think that's going to cause a little bit of problems. So I'm just going to get the soldering iron. I'm just going to take off a tiny bit off the top of that. There we go. Now I need to put it back together again, see if it's going to work, and then I need to put something on top. Okay, so I've glued the back of it, and now I've put all the screws in. Let's see if it's still going to work, or by gluing it, have I kind of pushed it away. Really, by gluing it, I should have pushed it more onto these. You never know. I don't know how well they're attached. Oh, look at that, it's already going. Excellent, it's already going and I haven't even tightened up the battery thing. I honestly think this is going to work. Right, what I need to do now is I need to seal this up. So, taking the battery out, I am going to get some nail varnish and I am going to pop it over there. Or should I get UV mask? Maybe I should get UV mask. Yeah, let's do UV mask and then I know it's going to go off properly. Okay, so now that's on there. Let me get the UV light on it and hopefully that will form a nice hard repair. Right, I know you can't see it, but what I've done is I've just basically got the watch here and I'm just shining the light here like that. And that will go off hopefully. Well, I'm going to leave that for the required amount of time. Then after we've done that, I'm debating on whether to try to take out the crown so I can get it out, because there's an annoying fibre in there that I'm worried might get caught around where the second, minute and the hour hand meet. But then in doing that, I hope I don't break it, but I can definitely see scuffs around the screw. So maybe it's just a case of undoing the screw, taking the crown out, and then it might start working. It's just that I've had a quick look online. It doesn't tell me how to take the crown out of this one. And because it's an early model, maybe there's some special technique for it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to let that go off and then I'll get back to it later. Right, embarrassingly, I wasn't recording. So basically, to undo the crown, I just had to undo this screw half a revolution, and then I just pressed it down ever so slightly and the crown just came straight out. And then to get the dial out, I had to undo 3 screws, one here and one up here, and then these little red and blue plastic things lift out like so. So they're kind of little spacers to keep it in, and that then allows you to turn it upside down and take the dial out. Now, I did get a few fibres out there using the Rolex. Now this will only go in one way round, so if it doesn't fit one way, then turn it round and it will fit in the other way. There you go, like so. And that's it, you just turn it upside down and then it comes out. Now, look at my solder mask. Can you see it's gone nice and hard now? So it's got a nice hard cap to it. It feels like rock hard plastic. In fact, it now looks like a blob chip. If you took a picture of that, it doesn't look too bad, doesn't it? Rolex is really good because it can pick up fibres on the dial without actually damaging the dial. Right, okay, that is all back together now. I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of IPA just to try to clean in here. Right, let's put the battery back in. So what I have to do now is, I won't do it in this video, but I'm going to have to regulate this watch. I haven't got the correct equipment to be able to put it on and for it to tell me how many seconds, or minutes in this case, fast or slow it is a day. But we know earlier on it seemed to lose a second over 2 minutes. Right, okay, so the only thing I've got left... Look at that, how good's that? Oh, I've got to put the crown back in, haven't I? I wonder, can I do that now with the battery in? Or is that gonna... I should be able to, shouldn't I? Push that little thing in. There we go. And now do it up. Excellent. Right, is it still going to work? No, my crown's come out. Oh no. All I did was undo it half a turn. Right, that's in now. Let's do it up. Excellent. Oh yeah, of course it stops it. Right, okay, so that's working. And now push in and turn, one click. 2 clicks. Brilliant. Result. Okay, they're all on. Now I'm going to pop this in here. Going to put it on one of the inside ones, so hopefully it will fit my wrist. There we go. Right, let's set the time and the date as well. I can take my gloves off now. Okay, so it's the 23rd, but it's PM, so let's do 1 click. There we go. Right, now I need to put this back. Actually, let's wait until we get to 12 so we can get the perfect time. It's a really hard watch to change the time on. There we go. 26. I'm just going to wait until that gets to 27 and then I can push it in. And I'll know now within a few hours how fast or slow it is, and I can start regulating it. Right, it's a little bit big, so I'm going to have to work out how I can maybe take out a link and then oh, there we go. How I can take out a link and then loosen it up, because it's just a little bit too big. Oh wow, look at that. How amazing is that? So it's the next day now, and it's still sweeping away for itself. I did have to adjust it more because it was running fast. So this morning, a few hours ago, I adjusted it, and I made sure this time that the screws were properly done up around that bit. And I think now it seems to be okay. So if you have a look at the time there now, and if we compare it to this one. So, right, look at this one now. So 32, 33, 34, and 35, 36, yeah. So it's... it appears to be keeping time. The date changed over last night. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to go through the whole calendar, but it definitely went over to the 24th, nice and easy. And I've taken a link out, and I've still had to put it at, I think, the tightest setting. I tell you why, it's an unbelievably heavy watch. It just wears very, very, very big on my wrist, and it's amazingly heavy. You have to wear it tight, otherwise it's just whacking down the whole time. So, yeah. It's probably not the nicest looking watch in the world, but it's certainly unique. And as far as the fix is concerned, oh my word, that was amazing. So having to do a little bit of surgery on the microchip, but the best bit for me was proving what leg of the microchip was faulty. I really enjoyed that one. So yeah, I hope you did too. Is it going to keep on working? I really don't know, but I can keep my eye out for a circuit board because I think the watch deserves to be repaired properly. But at the same time, I always do try to like to fix rather than replace, and I think that was a nice little fix. I suppose it's not necessarily a bodge job. If you couldn't get replacement modules, well, what are you going to do? I suppose the best thing to do really is to find a microchip that is going to work, because I'm sure it's not doing anything too clever. It's just with the frequency of this one here, you know, the 8000s, maybe it's going to be hard to get hold of. But maybe that's where my viewers can come in. Maybe you will know what microchip I need, and maybe I can wire it in on a later video. So that is it. If you enjoyed it, please give it a massive thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks so much for watching.